What's up guys, welcome to Voicey here. This is your host, Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady, with a little bonus from r/TodayIFudgedUp. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called, I'm Not a DJ, Are You Blind? Well, this is kinda r/IDontWorkHereLady, and kinda not, but I think it fits best in this category. A couple of years back, my friends and I used to organize DJ events. First, it started small. We rented out places like party houses, small private bars, etc. And we set up a sound system, lights and stuff, and several DJs playing 10 to 12 hours into the night. It was fun, and everyone that came to the event, as invited, knew what it was all about. I usually took care of the lighting, and sometimes I stayed the whole event just driving the lights, fog, and some visuals. After some events, quite a few people knew our agenda, and we started to get invited to throw these events in public bars. I wasn't very excited about it, but I thought, oh well, why not? Let's try it out. I knew how teen-in bars are, and our DJs weren't very radio-friendly. The day of the event came up, and we were thrilled to share our enthusiasm with the public. We set up sounds, lights, visuals, and even had an artist that was more like a band than a DJ. This wasn't a very large bar, but it had a decent-sized stage. We set up the DJ table in the middle of the stage and the sound/light controls where the house DJs usually stay, at the side of the stage. I asked all the DJs if they had any preferences with lighting, color themes, etc., and some made a couple of requests. The stage was looking great, and the first DJ started playing, and I started to play with lighting. About 2 tracks in, a girl walks to my LJ booth, or light jockey. "Excuse me, can you play this radio song?" "Sorry miss, I'm not a DJ." Girl looks confused and goes away. I didn't think much of it. 2 more tracks, and the same girl comes to my booth again. "Excuse me, why can't you play this radio song?" "Sorry miss, I'm really not a DJ, I'm an LJ." "What's that? You sit where the DJ's supposed to be?" "I'm driving the lights for this event, the DJ is on the stage." I point at the stage about 3 meters to her left, but I think he plays his own stuff tonight. I'm really dumbfounded that she is not realizing that there is clearly a stage right there and a DJ on it. Also, my equipment doesn't look anything like DJ controllers or turntables. Oh. She goes away to talk with her friends, pointing at me and looking very confused. The event goes on for an hour or so without any hassle, before the girl comes back again. This time she is way more drunk. "Look, I know this is the DJ's place, so you really should play this radio song. Why are you being a jerk?" "Look, miss, the DJ is right there on the stage. Look!" Pointing at the stage. "I'm just here to do the lights. This is a band event with a certain type of music and no house DJs today. We aren't taking song requests tonight, and even if we were, I'm not the one to play that for you." "I don't get it. Why won't you take my song request?" Me, now really frustrated. "Okay, miss, I'll take your request. Do you want it in green, blue, or red?" The girl is now looking seriously offended. She stares at me for a while, then turns to look at the DJ who is in the middle of a serious hardstyle track. I can see her gears finally started turning. She then pushes forward, tries to call the DJ who doesn't hear anything with the headphones on. The girl then gets an angry look on her face. I can't hear what she is saying, but suddenly she climbs over the stage railing with her drink, spilling it all over the stage, stumbling on the floor and almost knocking over the DJ table. Now DJ notices her with a "Whatever, miss?" look. But before any words are exchanged, house security steps in and drags the girl out of the stage and right out of the bar door. I didn't see her anymore that night. I'm sad that she missed my "This Radio Song" in green. Alright, so normally I would have made a very well-constructed, very funny Left 4 Dead joke, but I'm too lazy, so ha! This story's called Stop Calling, I Don't Work For You. This has been taking place over the last few weeks, but let me give you a background. I don't know any other job that does this, but my job will have my boss text me what my work schedule is for the next week. If they are short-staffed, she will text me the night before asking, not demanding, me to do a shift. I know no other job that has that setup, but I am sure there are plenty. A few weeks ago, I got a text from Karen at 1 a.m. "Jorge, this is Karen. You're on first shift." I woke up since I really need to turn my text alarms down. So I messaged back, "I am not Jorge. There is no Jorge, so nope." The Karen texted back, "Jorge, stop messing around. I am Miss Bob. I am your supervisor. You need to do as I say." I texted back, "Still not Jorge. I am OP and I don't know Bob. I don't even know anyone named that. I'm a female to boot. You got the wrong number. Please check it." After that, no text until the next day, which followed the same formula. And this went on for a couple of weeks every couple of days. Then one day, I started getting calls from strange numbers. All would hang up and then text me calling me Jorge's name, and all with the Karen saying she tried calling him but got no one. Seriously, she would hang up before I could even answer, during the first ring. I tried calling her back and even left voicemails telling her, "I am not Jorge, stop calling, stop texting, I don't work for you." She did that repeatedly for a while, until yesterday. Yesterday, she called me when I was just getting off work and my friend was picking me up. "Is that her?" asked my friend. "Yep," I replied and answered the phone. She was on it this time and livid. "Help," I started, never got it out. "Jorge, stop this nonsense. You have to work right now. Get here," she snapped. "Look, lady, I don't work for you. I am not a guy in any way. Do I sound male to you? Stop this BS." My friend wandered off while I was on the phone. I wasn't too far off from my workstation. Karen was now going off and swearing. "I am your supervisor. If you don't come in, you are fired," she yelled. "I don't have a supervisor. I have a manager, and she doesn't have a man's first name for a last name or sound insanely suspicious." I snapped. I was so done with this. I was about to start yelling horrible things when my manager touched my shoulder. My friend had found my manager and got her. My manager gestured to me to hand over the phone. I did, as I could hear Karen going totally nutso on the other line. "Stop yelling now! How dare you treat my employees so poorly!" snapped my manager. After some more shouts that could be heard over the phone, my manager then yelled, "If you ever talk to my employee again, I'm calling the cops!" She shouted into the phone before clicking a few buttons. "Sorry, I blocked her. Just block any number from here. She is not with us," she said. "No kidding, Karen thought OP was named Jorge. She is not," said my friend. "That is crazy," said my manager. My phone started to ring. It was another one of the numbers Karen used. "Here again?" asked my manager. "Yeah," I said and blocked it. I was scared to block her in case she was a boss in some way, as I do have a few male names as nicknames, so I thought she might be confused. I said, "No, only I or other managers will message you your schedule, and we will never raise our voice at you like that. You have a boss that does that, report them," said my manager before she sent me off to enjoy the rest of my day. I love my boss and friends. They are all so awesome. Man, it always makes me tear up a little bit anytime I read or see any instance of someone showing genuine care for another person that they don't necessarily have to care for. For instance, this boss, she genuinely cares. She didn't have to do that. That's sweet. This story's called Somewhat Cathartic. Hey people, I've listened to a lot of r/IDontWorkHereLady on YouTube lately, and a couple days ago I had this encounter, so now I decided to share it with you as a thank you for several good laughs I've had. A little bit of background. I work for a security contract/detective agency, and the only client I worked for the last couple of years is a large German supermarket chain being employed in many different, almost every, store in my home city. The liaison manager in my district is as entitled as it gets, and entitled people being my pet peeve, I started to hate him the first time I met him. Still, this effer has his fair share of power over way too many people, and employees usually rather kowtow to him before being fired. Also, since I work as a store detective, I don't wear a uniform when on the clock. And due to that, I have a couple of stories for this subreddit and/or r/Tales from Security, if someone wants to read them. However, due to severe back issues, I haven't been able to work since late January, although you normally couldn't tell since they aren't visible. After working at this supermarket chain for years, and since I have 4 of their stores within 5 to 15 minutes by foot, I usually go to one of them for my groceries. And almost every employee in these stores knows me and my job. Dramatized personae.
Entitled liaison manager.
Store manager. Office worker. Last Friday, I went to the closest store nearby, got a shopping cart, and wandered through the aisles. I took my time since I hadn't planned any meals for the weekend and was somewhat stoned. Back issues can be damn painful and most painkillers don't really work anymore, except in high doses, and I want to stay away from my morphines, etc. My doctors are cool with me using weed, although it isn't legal here, barring very few exceptions. I wanted to grab a special beverage that wasn't on the shelf at that time, so I left my cart and my backpack with it to look for an employee to ask if they have some in storage. Instead, I saw a man I caught shoplifting several times over the last few years. Out of habit, I followed him with some distance and he actually stuffed a bottle of vodka into his jacket, most probably an inner pocket, just as any time I caught him before. I turned away and headed to the checkout area when I ran into store manager. I told her about my observation, hoping that maybe she'd be thankful and hand me a gift card. That sometimes happens when a customer informs the staff about a shoplifter who then gets caught. She thanked me and asked if I would join her to watch the dude via CCTV since I am way more experienced in this than her. I agreed, and since my shopping cart was on the way to the office, I simply took it with me to the office. Together, we observed the presumed shoplifter loading his duffel bag with packs of coffee and heading towards the exit. Store manager and I stopped the dude just outside the store, asked him to follow us into the office, dispatched the matter, and since he had stuff worth over $100 in total, store manager was the happiest I ever saw her. Happy enough to fulfill my hopes of a gift card. I didn't ask for it, though I didn't decline either. Just as we finished paperwork and store manager gave me the gift card, entitled liaison manager enters the office and the actual story begins.
What did you do there, store manager? We pay enough for security and we don't hand out gift cards to people for doing their jobs.
Yeah, but I didn't simply do my job. I've been sick for almost a year now and don't get paid to do this. I did it out of habit and because I would be pissed if that dude got away.
Don't talk to me, and especially not in that tone. I'm talking to store manager, not you.
Sorry, entitled liaison manager, but he actually hasn't worked for quite some time. He did this voluntarily and I wanted to be gracious, that's it.
I said we don't hand out gift cards to people doing their job.
Me getting audibly upset in a moment's notice over this jackass. Yeah, whatever. Store manager, thanks for the gift card, but I think I should go back to shopping now.
That's it. I'll call your office to report this. I can have you fired and you know that.
Yep, and you know, someone can't be fired when he's sick. Exceptions apply, but it is very hard.
Whatever. Your ID?
I can shorten this. I took out my phone and called my office. Company name, this is office worker, how can I help you? Hey, office worker, listen, I've got a situation with entitled liaison manager and— How? How did you do that while not even working and being sick? Notes, I do have a history with entitled liaison manager and am yet the only employee to have had several negative encounters with him that didn't get fired. I filled her in with the events and could hear her coworker laugh. Apparently, she had put me on speaker for the whole office to listen. Okay, please hand me over to entitled liaison manager. I'll try and sort this out. From there on, I could only hear what entitled liaison manager said, but he got a sour look on his face, maybe realizing he was at fault. He said goodbye and handed me my phone back. Office worker then told me she explained to him that I was sick and hadn't been working almost all year now, and that he had no reason to be angry. Then she asked me to try and not clash with entitled liaison manager again. We said goodbye and I hung up. I then again thanked store manager for the gift card, gave entitled liaison manager my most sarcastic winning grin and went on shopping. This was kind of cathartic since Entitled Liaison Manager is a huge butthole to everyone he has some kind of power over. And I handed him the only loss I know about. It felt so sweet. How is anyone that mean? How little of a crap do you have to give in order to be that much of a jerk? Oh, this dude who hasn't worked here in almost a year did something that he didn't have to do. How dare you reward him? Good gosh. This story is called Today I Fudged Up by Accidentally Calling My Landlord While High. So this happened last night, and basically, I was just too shook to share it then. I'm a single 24-year-old guy who lives on his own. So I figure after a long, hard day of work, I would allow myself to light up a joint in my apartment. Harmless enough, right? I thought so too. A few hours go by and I start to get hungry and decide to order myself some Chinese food. So here comes the F-up. I'm relatively new to the area, so I'm looking up places to order from and I pick one pretty much at random. I call in my order and everything seems relatively normal until about 30 minutes later when I hear a knock at the door. The main door to my building is locked, so nobody outside of a neighbor should be knocking on my door, especially not at 9 o'clock on a Monday night. I immediately begin to panic and start putting away all the evidence of the weed I'd smoked earlier and stash it in a desk drawer. I eventually pull myself together and open the door to see who else but my landlord. Yes, my landlord, standing there in casual clothes and holding a grocery bag with a big smiley face on it and a paper bag inside. Now, a little history. My landlord is Chinese, and basically whenever I call him, it does sound pretty busy in the background, but naturally, I never put two and two together to figure that he also works at/owns a restaurant nearby enough to deliver to me. So I'm standing there at the door, my apartment reeks of weed and I'm so obviously baked. And alone in my apartment, not to mention the whole complex is non-smoking, so that's a sweet cherry on top. I end up awkwardly taking the food and just giving a really big tip in hopes that this can kind of get swept under the rug and we can ignore that it ever happened. I also figured out that he was able to get to my door because he has a key to the freaking building. God, it took me so long to piece that together. Oh, poor guy. But I think he's fine if the landlord didn't say anything. But if it took him that long to figure out how his landlord could access the building the landlord is the lord of, homeboy is still quite bluegered. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.